An Ice Age mammoth travels through time, witnessing climate change from ancient to modern Earth. My name is and my first memory is of the biting wind that swept across the great northern steppes. The world was a canvas of white and muted browns, a vast, frozen expanse under a pale, distant sun. We were a herd, a moving mountain range of fur and might, our tusks curving like crescent moons against the endless sky. Life was a simple, brutal rhythm, the search for sparse vegetation beneath the snow, the huddle for warmth against the relentless cold, the deep, rumbling calls that bound us together as one. The air was crisp, pure, and so cold it felt solid in my lungs. The ground beneath my massive feet was permafrost, a foundation as hard and permanent as the stars. This was my world, the world of the great ice, and I believed it would last forever. One day, a light unlike any eye had ever seen tore through the gray sky. It was not the gentle glow of the aurora, but a blinding, shimmering fissure in the fabric of the world. It pulsed with an energy that made the air hum and the ground tremble. Fear, a cold spike sharper than any icicle, pierced the heart of our herd. We stampeded, a thunder of panicked feet, but the light seemed to have a will of its own. It enveloped me, a swirling vortex of impossible colors. The comforting weight of the herd, the familiar scent of musk and frozen earth, it all vanished. I was alone, tumbling through a chaotic void where time had no meaning. When the light finally receded, the cold was gone. I landed with a jarring thud, not on frozen tundra, but on soft, damp soil. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of wet earth, blooming flowers, and a million things I had no name for. Towering green giants, far denser and taller than the sparse trees I knew, formed a canopy that blotted out the sky. Water, not frozen but flowing, gurgled in streams and pooled in shimmering ponds. Strange, colorful birds flitted through the air, their songs a complex symphony compared to the lonely cry of the tundra hawk. I had stumbled into a world of impossible green, a world thawing from the long dream of winter. The ground was softer, the ice was in retreat, and the air was warmer. This was the great melt, the dawn of a new age. I saw herds of deer, bison of a different kind, and early humans, smaller and less bundled than the ones who hunted us, their eyes filled with a new kind of curiosity. The world was changing, becoming gentler, more alive. For a time, I wandered this lush paradise, a lonely relic in a world that was rapidly forgetting my kind. The mammoths of this era were fewer, smaller, their great coats thinning. The relentless march of warmth was a slow, creeping threat, melting the foundations of our existence. The shimmering light found me again, years or perhaps centuries later, as I grazed in a sun-dappled meadow. The wrenching journey through the void was the same, but the world I emerged into was unrecognizable. The air was no longer just warm. It was hot and thick with a strange, acrid haze that stung my eyes and throat. The ground beneath me was not soil, but a hard, black stone, etched with stark white lines. Monstrous, gleaming beetles of metal roared past me, faster than any predator I had ever known, spewing foul-smelling smoke. And the humans, they were everywhere. They lived in colossal, geometric mountains that scraped the sky, their sheer faces dotted with countless glowing eyes. Their forests were made of stone and glass, their rivers encased in concrete channels. The natural world I remembered was gone, replaced by a world they had built. I walked through their canyons of steel, a ghost from a forgotten epoch. The warmth was no longer gentle. It was oppressive, a suffocating blanket that radiated from the black stone ground even at night. The sun felt angrier, its light harsh and unfiltered. I saw their screens, their windows into other places, and on them I saw images of the last frozen places on Earth. I saw the great ice sheets, the descendants of my frozen home, cracking and groaning, huge chunks collapsing into a rising ocean. The polar bears, the new kings of the ice, looked gaunt and lost, their white world shrinking with every passing day. The humans spoke of it in panicked tones, their voices filled with a strange mixture of guilt and helplessness. Take it, climate change, a warming planet. They had names and numbers for the poison in the air, for the rising heat, for the acid in the seas. They knew what was happening. They had measured the death of my world, and were now measuring the death of their own. In my lonely journey, I saw the consequences of this new, unnatural warmth. I saw lands that were once green and fertile turn to cracked, barren desert. I saw forests, the very lungs of the planet, consumed by fires of a ferocity I could not comprehend, leaving behind skeletal, blackened trees. I saw immense storms, born from the unnaturally warm oceans, lash the coastlines with terrifying fury, washing away the human stone creations as if they were mere The rivers I had once seen flowing with clear, life-giving water were now choked with filth and strange, colorful debris that never rotted. The symphony of the natural world was replaced by a cacophony of sirens, engines, and anxious chatter. The humans, for all their power and ingenuity, looked small and afraid. Trapped in the cage of their own making, they were changing the climate not over millennia, but in the span of a few generations. They were the architects of this great Fabry's hit. The light took me one last time. This time, there was no ground to land on. I materialized in the sky, high above a world that was both alien and tragically familiar. Below me, the earth was scarred. Vast swaths of the land were brown and desolate, while other parts were submerged beneath an unnaturally high sea that had swallowed coastlines whole. The great ice caps at the poles were but pale shadows of their former glory, tiny patches of white in a world of blue and brown. Great, dark plumes of smoke still rose from the few remaining human cities, which were now domed or built on towering stilts above the water. I saw no animals, no birds, no sign of the vibrant life that had once flourished. The air was a hazy, unbreathable soup. The sun was a malevolent, hazy orb in a sickly yellow sky. This was a world gasping its last breath, a planet suffocated by a fever it could not break. The silence was the most terrifying thing of all. No bird song, no insectum, no rumbling heard, just the whisper of a poisoned wind across a dying landscape. I began to fade, my own form becoming as transparent as a phantom. My journey was ending, from the frozen grandeur of the Pleistocene to the humid dawn of the Holocene, from the roaring rise of industry to this desolate, overheated future. I had been an unwilling witness. I had seen a world of ice, a world of green, and a world of fire and ruin. I saw how a planet's rhythm could be broken, how the slow, majestic dance of climate could be thrown into a frantic, destructive spasm by the actions of a single species. My journey was not just a passage through time. It was a testament to a paradise lost, a warning etched in the memory of a creature who remembered a colder, purer, more balanced world. An Ice Age mammoth travels through time, witnessing climate change from ancient to modern Earth.